topic for this class is eternity and the cycle of time. When we start to consider ourselves to be something more than the body, a spiritual being, a soul, then when we look at our lifespan, at our existence as a human being, then our perspective begins to change, because I'm not defining my existence and my life just based on my body. Eternity is a very deep subject, but very easy to understand. The basic definition of eternity is something which has no beginning and no end. Something which is not created, not destroyed. Something which has always been here and will always be here in the future. Typically, when we look at time, it is often portrayed as a line, a timeline, whether something is 1 year into the future or 500 years into the future or 1 billion, 1 trillion years into the future. This is often portrayed as a line, drawn on a line. But we know from our basic geometry that a line is defined by a beginning point and an end point. So a line can never depict eternity. Regardless of how long that line is, it must come to an end. There's another concept of the earth going through a cycle of time and then coming to a complete end and starting a new cycle of time. Some refer to this as a Big Bang theory. But this is also like little cycles of time on a line, points on a line. The only way you can say draw eternity is in the form of a circle. If you see here in this picture, we see a line, points on a line, and a circle. This circle also means a cycle of time. Just like a clock goes from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9 and back to 12 and on and on. Like our seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, and then again, spring, summer, fall, and winter. So eternity means that something which is in a cycle of time, you cannot say when this cycle of time begins or when it ends, because it's going on and on. You cannot say that this cycle of time was created or that it can be destroyed. So eternal means something which is already in existence, something which can never be destroyed. Now, let us look at our life as human beings on this earth. There are 4 eternal things in existence. The first is the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Light. This Supreme Being of Light was not created, cannot be destroyed, was already here and will always be here. The same is for all of us, for you, for me, all of the souls. Each of us is also an eternal being of light, an eternal actor. The third eternal thing is Mother Nature, the physical elements. Science has already demonstrated and proven that matter cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. And the fourth eternal thing is time. Time is eternal. No beginning, no end. When we put all four of these eternal things together, it creates a beautiful world drama cycle. In this picture, we call this the world drama cycle. It is a bird's eye view of our life and existence on this earth. What is unique about this concept of time is that when we first come onto this earth from the land of peace, the soul world, which we have been talking about, when we first come onto this earth, we are in a very pure, divine, very civilized, technologically advanced, culturally very advanced, highly civilized. We call this a golden age. So the first half of this cycle of life on earth is like a heaven on earth. During this time period, the human soul is in this state very elevated, very civilized. And then halfway through, so we have a golden age, a silver age, and then a copper age. This is when the negative tendencies in the soul begin and the decline of the humanity begins. It is very gradual, but this is where it starts. And then we come to the last quarter called an Iron Age, which is a hell on earth. So the good news is nobody's going to hell because we are already here. It is already a hell on earth now. After this Iron Age, there's a small transition period between the old world and the new world. We call this a Confluence Age. It is the transition from old to new. Now, in this first half of the cycle of time, of the world drama cycle, each human soul is completely pure and divine. There are no negative tendencies present in the soul. And because of that, it is a time of complete peace, complete happiness. Beginning in the Copper Age, this is when the negative tendencies, which there are 5 main negative tendencies: ego, anger, greed, lust, attachment. These are the 5 main vices within the human soul And then there are many children and grandchildren of these vices, like jealousy, selfishness, etc. So in the beginning of this Copper Age, the awareness of the body, the ego of the body, begins. But it is very gradual. And from this point, the path of worship begins. This is the time period where all of the main prophets come to establish religions. Abraham, Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, and then later on, the most recent prophet is Guru Nanak. So each prophet comes, establishes a religion or a way of life, and this new way of life continues. Coming back to the Golden and Silver Age, during this time period, there's no worship of any kind. Because during this time period, we do not need anything, not even from God. Each soul is full of happiness, peace, love. Even the animals are completely peaceful and happy, completely non-violent. We do not hurt the animals during this time period on earth. The animals do not hurt each other, and they do not hurt us. It is remembered as the lion and the lamb drinking from the same pond. Complete non-violence. During this time period, there are no temples, churches, synagogues, mosque, gurudwara. During this time period, no worship of any kind. Then beginning in the Copper Age, this is when the path of worship begins. Now we move back to the present time in this Confluence Age. This is the time period, the most auspicious time of the entire cycle of time, where we go from old to new. It is the time where we have opportunity to completely remove the negative tendencies in us. When I see myself in this cycle of time, what I want to understand is that I am an actor, and this stage is the earth. The sun, the moon, the stars are the stage lights for this earth, the stage. The most important is that I focus on playing my own beautiful part. I cannot change another actor's part. I must focus on playing my own part, just like if I was acting on a stage. The director and the main actor of this drama of life is the Supreme Being, the Supreme Soul. Now, if all of these four things, soul, Supreme Soul, all of the matter, and time itself is already eternal, already existing, then what is actually created? because everyone refers to the Supreme Being, this Supreme Light, as the Creator. So this being must create something. When we come to the end of this Iron Age, a time when the soul has lost its light, because the soul is very much like a rechargeable battery. When we start out in this golden age, the soul is fully charged, a fully charged battery. And then slowly, the battery loses its charge. It is at this time, at the end of this Iron Age, during this auspicious transition time, where the soul can connect, plug in to the Supreme Soul and get recharged, purified, refreshed, renewed. This is the speciality of this time. Now there's another picture referring to eternity. This we call the tree of life. In this picture you see at the trunk, at the bottom of the trunk, there's a seed. The Supreme Being is like a seed. Like, for example, an apple seed. In that tiny little seed, there's a memory, a knowledge of everything that will be in the apple tree. How many leaves, how many apples. All of this information and knowledge is contained within the tiny seed. So this Supreme Being, Supreme Light, is the seed of humanity. And from this seed emerges a beautiful tree of life. The trunk represents complete unity, a time period on earth during this golden and silver age in which there's complete unity amongst humanity. And then slowly the branches begin to emerge. Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Sikh, and many different paths, many different ways of life emerge. Each branch has its own belief about who is the seed of the tree. All of the millions of leaves represent opinions. Each human being has a different opinion about who is the seed of the tree. When we step back and look at this tree of life, the beauty of this tree is all of the variety of religions, variety of ways of life. If we say we should remove one branch or a few branches to create peace, this would take away the beauty of the tree. The beauty of this tree is the variety. And so when we see people of different religions, different ways of life, different cultures, we can appreciate that each soul is a unique decoration on this tree. And then as the tree gets old, a new sapling emerges. And again, the tree grows to its fullest height. Next, this is a picture we call the ladder. What this represents is that we start out as a humanity in a very elevated, very civilized, technologically advanced, modern world. And the human soul is in this condition also, fully charged, bright, happy. The Mother Nature is also in a state of complete calmness, new and pure. And then slowly we come down the ladder, and as we reach this copper age, the path of worship begins. Now, this section regarding worship, what we considered to be worthy of worship has changed over time. In the beginning of this path of worship, what we considered to be worthy of worship was only one supreme light, the divine virtues, the divine qualities of those who existed before us. And then slowly, what we considered to be worthy of worship started to become more related to our body, to the extent that when we reach the bottom of this ladder, our object of worship actually becomes our own body and the body of others. This is a time period where the human soul has lost its internal spiritual power. And then again, we connect to this seed, to this creator of light, and go back up to the top of this ladder. So the Supreme Being creates newness, divinity, wisdom in the human soul at a time when it has been lost. So this is why the Supreme Being is referred to as the Creator. So when I see myself, when I see others, I want to remind myself that this body of mine is my costume. I, the soul, am an actor sitting inside this costume, playing my part on this earth. Each individual, each person has their own separate, unique part. Even for those who are closest to me, they are also actors on this stage, and they must play their own unique, individual part. What we want to do is connect ourself, connect our mind, develop relationship with this Supreme Being, the director of this play, so that I can get refreshed, recharged, rejuvenated, and play a beautiful part on this stage of earth. Now, let us have a nice meditation. Think about this concept of eternity very deeply. How does this apply to me? and to my life. When I see myself, I want to see there's something more to me than just this one part that I am playing on this earth. I have been here before, and I will be here again. Now, I become aware of my own thoughts. I think of myself as a live, living actor wearing a unique costume. I am playing my part on this stage of the earth with a variety of different actors. I, the soul, am an eternal being, a being of light. I know I will not stay in this body of mine forever. But I also know that the moment I leave this body of mine, it will become very clear to me that I am still alive. My mind, my personality, my identity will be fully intact. I will still be me. The only difference is I will know very clearly that I am not this body of mine. The next thing that I will experience when I leave this body of mine is this supreme light will come to me like a loving mother and surround me with love, with peace, with comfort. At this time, I will see that each of my loved ones is also an eternal actor playing their part on this stage. The one responsible for all the actors is this beautiful being of light, the Supreme Being, the director of this play. Before I came to this earth, I was in a world of peace, a consciousness of peace, a land of peace. In this place of peace, the soul world, I did not have a body. It was just me, the sparkling soul, like a seed, merged in the awareness of peace. And then I come onto this earth and take a costume, a body, and start to play my part. After I've played my part, I will leave one costume and then take another costume as a baby and again play my part. In this way, I have played many parts on this earth as an actor, with a variety of different costumes, just like an actor on the stage. I go through this cycle of time, and then again, when it's time for this cycle of time to be refreshed and renewed, each and every one of us return to our sweet home, the land of peace, the soul world, the home of the soul. And from this land of peace, from this consciousness of peace, again we come onto this stage of the earth and play our part. My original nature is peace. I will always return to my original nature, a personality of peace. So when I see myself and my existence on this earth, when I think about where I came from and where I'm going, I will always remember that I am an eternal actor playing a part on this stage. As I come back to the awareness of this body of mine, I am still me. But for a few moments, I have stepped away from the awareness of this body of mine and see myself as a spiritual being playing a part on this stage, wearing the costume of this body. From now on, when I see others, I will have it in my mind that they are also actors on this stage, playing their part. I observe each actor just as a witness, detached, watching the part of others. And I focus on playing my own beautiful part. I cannot change the part of others, but I can change the quality of my own part and have a positive influence on others. I always remember that this Supreme Light is the creator of peace, the creator of happiness, and it is the spiritual strength that we get from this being of light helps us to conquer all situations and all problems. This is a play of victory and defeat, happiness and sorrow. Now is the time of victory over my negative tendencies, the time to learn how to be happy and peaceful again. This concludes this session. Look forward to seeing you in the next session. Om Shanti.